Galactic Council Station VOG. Meeting number 452nd or 515. Species and territories represented: Ike's territory, indentured. Representative: High Member Flufif of the Ike's territory, indentured. As you know, my race is an indentured one to the Empire. Every year all those newly matured of my species must submit to the rest of the Galactic Empire for slave labor assignment to all the other members of the Empire that are not of the indentured status. I also realize that there are only two laws that those of the indentured status must abide by. The first being that we of the indentured must submit ourselves for forced labor for a term equal to half of our average lifespan. The other is that all individuals that are physically or mentally unstable to serve must be immediately culled. I also understand that the second rule is that there will not be any exceptions made. We were never warlike and have always abhorred violence. Hence we were easy to conquer, easy to subjugate and easy to enslave. I am here today to ask the Council to imagine and to understand. Understand that we will no longer be adhering to the two laws regarding indentured stature, as many that have submitted themselves to their time of servitude never return. They are simply kept or killed, so as to escape the cost of their travel back to their territories of origin. Granted, this percentage only equates to a quarter or so, but still, it hobbles our population. I am sure it is by design. I see the looks of outrage, but please allow me to extrapolate. Some time ago, our territory found a new unheard of species on our galactic rimward side. We have kept the knowledge of them from you for some time, as we thought that we could use them to our own benefit, or take advantage of them in the areas of trade relations in order to better our own plight. We chose a different course of action, though. The time has come, however, to reveal the truth. All I would like from this council is to imagine. Imagine that what we have found makes our separation from indentured status in the Galactic Empire inevitable. And what we have found is a second, technologically advanced death world. I understand that the possibility of a death world species gaining enough intelligence to escape their world, or even colonize another, is unique to only one species that you know of. The Ronatka, and they are warlike and brutal to be sure. They are relatively difficult to deal with, but they are now not the only death world to gain space travel. There is another species that come from a death world that has expanded to the stars as well. On the far side of our small outer corner of the Empire is a species that we recently discovered. They have colonized 5 other systems that we know of. We have been in communications with them for a few decades now, and we consider each other allies. And I am here to inform the Galactic Council of this new species. When we first met them, we opened up the possibility of trade to them, and though we are not a warlike race, we did seek to take advantage of them, as I have previously stated. We quickly found out how much of a mistake this would be when they offered us an unredacted historical account of their species. We are now on good terms with them, trusted allies even. And regardless of the Galactic Council's decision in any future decisions it has about this new species, I am here to inform you, also, that our small and peaceful territories will maintain all relations with the humans regardless of any orders to the contrary coming from the Galactic Council. Even if it means war between us. We are no longer afraid of the technological and militaristic might of any empire. The humans are far more terrifying. I will explain. The human's death world is a class 12. I realize your common scale ends at 10, but we have extended it 2 points higher because of 2 factors. First is that their homeworld has 4.2 times greater gravity than the Ronatka. Second is that the Ronatka, throughout their evolution, were the only apex predator on their planet. So, I want you all to imagine a death world, the size of the paradise world Takwa. Now imagine that in every biosphere on that planet, there are many different types of apex predator. Hundreds if not thousands of what we would call apex predators. Some are even smaller than the buttons on your consoles. Many are more than double the size of the Ronatka, and could best them, even if the Renaka were wearing fully powered battle armor. Everything. And I truly mean everything. On that planet is trying to eat every other thing on the planet, and everything there lives in constant terror of being eaten itself. A planet that has more lethal viruses and bacteria than any other planet has in total. By orders of magnitude. A world where even the herbivores are territorial enough to actively chase down and kill predators. A world where earthquakes are common yearly. Where weather patterns can shift so drastically as to kill some intelligent species of the galaxy simply by the rapid change in temperature. In a matter of a solar rotation or two, the temperature can drop or rise more than 20 points on the universal galactic scale. When water freezes and falls from the sky as white particles that lazily drift down to chunks of ice the size of my head. A planet where the flora and fauna contain poisons that are so numerous that many of them are solely unique to that world. Where vast tornadoes and hurricanes can suddenly appear and damage or destroy large swaths of the planet's surface. A planet that contains frozen landscapes to barren deserts, all within the distance of walking from one end of this station to the other. Terrified yet? I can see that you are either unbelieving or unimpressed. I will continue. Now, imagine a species of that world that is my height. Bulkier than I, but relatively the same size. An omnivore. Imagine that species having no claws or talons, as they are evolved from a primate-like ancestor like the blacks. They have no poison defenses, no armored hide, cannot biologically fly or breathe in the water. Nearly every predator on the planet can either outfly or outclimb or outrun or outswim them. The majority of predators on the planet have far better senses than them. Better vision, better hearing, better sense of smell. They have no psychic abilities of note, and no extrasensory senses to alert them of danger, other than their limited hearing and vision. Imagine that even to this day, they still fear those apex predators in every biome, and still to this day lose members of their species when they venture into those biomes and encounter them in the wild. And yet they flourished on that world, to the point that they can colonize neighboring systems. Now, are you terrified? No? Then let me enlighten you on their talents. They can take a piece of technology from any of your species, no matter how mundane or common you think it is, and figure out how it works and what it does in an extremely short amount of time. Once they know this, they can duplicate it and improve upon it. So much so that in a surprisingly short amount of time, its capabilities are superior to the original. Also, they can modify it to perform far more functions than it was originally intended for. Then, they can further modify it to perform functions that you never thought of. They can turn any tech or object into a lethal weapon. Any tech, any object. Their entire evolution was a brutal and constant battle for survival. They evolved as pursuit predators. They hunted and operated in tribes before their agricultural stage, in societies in their industrial age, and in nations in their current stage. In every stage they also combated each other, sometimes to the point that they would engage in global warfare against each other. Yet, they survived. They yearn for and strive for peace and unity, but have only experienced their state as intermissions between conflicts or battles for survival. They can adapt to environments or gravitational differences easily. What every other race in this galaxy knows to be impossible, they find or make a way for it to be possible. They even found a way to artificially generate black holes, and use them as power sources and propulsion systems, and yes, even weapons of war. From their sidearms to the weaponry used by planetary and system defenses. They mastered light refraction and phase shift technology, and I do mean mastered. They have taken the concept of projectile weaponry to the point that there is no laser that has greater range or accuracy, and their targeting AIs use predictive algorithms to ensure that any evasive maneuvering only leads to intersection with the projectile. You cannot escape their AI targeting systems, and they have an unholy love for projectile weapons that delves deeply into insanity. When they wage warfare, they do so on every level. These include, but are not limited to, economical, biological, chemical, radiological, social, physical, psychological, etc. They wage war in every aspect that they can think of. What you call overkill, they simply call being thorough. They are imaginative and creative and cunning on a scale you cannot even comprehend. Their artistic expression can engage all 5 of the common senses and can be mind-shattering in its beauty, or insanely nightmarish or of any scale and blend in between. Now, are you terrified? I see that many of you have decided that I am simply telling you a fantastical story, and that what I say cannot possibly be true. I will give you a few moments to scoff or laugh or berate me if you so choose. After which I will tell you something that will horrify you. Moments passed. Many laughed. Many sent me insults. Many simply shook their heads in denial. Then the elder of the Galactic Council asked, "What more do you feel it is necessary to waste this council's time with? Know that there will be repercussions for this. However, it is the policy of this council to allow you to speak. Continue." "Very well. I must inform the council that the humans, as they call themselves, have demanded of us an introduction to this council, and that they are here now." "I see no evidence of that on any scanner, and none in chamber either," the elder said with an incredulous laugh. "Do you remember when I said that they have mastered light refraction and phase shift technology?" I responded. "Laughable, as those technologies are dead-end endeavors, and are thus impossible to achieve," the elder said disgustedly. "Do you remember when I said, what every other race in this galaxy knows to be impossible, they find or make a way for it to be possible?" I replied. "Prove it!" the elder demanded with a shout, standing as he did so. I raised my hand out in front of me, and made the sign that humans call a thumbs up. Immediately, the station scanners went into overdrive and every warning klaxon went off. A new and artificial moon faded into existence in orbit around the planet the station was parked over. A second later, ships faded into existence in the space around the planet. Thousands, then tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands. A second after the last ship faded into existence, entities on the station and in this very chamber faded into view. Their numbers tripled the occupancy in the council chamber alone. Every one of them in a strange battle armor that was so black it absorbed ambient light without any reflection at all. All save one. A lone human dressed in a simple black flight suit with no adornment. He had bright green eyes and the graying hair of advanced age. He appeared an arm's length away from the council elder, and uttered only one word. "Howdy." Then he raised his arm, and aimed an archaic slug-throwing weapon, and pulled the trigger. The elder's head violently exploded in a shower of viscera. Every non-human in the room was immediately deafened at the incredibly loud report of the weapon the human called a Smith & Wesson Model 500, but me. I, as instructed by my human allies, had my digits in my ears.